Tonight, we're at the newly renovated and incredibly beautiful Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut. Boxing After Dark, featuring two of the sport's ultimate warriors, Arturo Gatti and Irish Micky Ward, as they get set to battle in the 140-pound weight class. Then we'll bring you highlights of Prince Nassim Hamed's first fight since having lost to Marco Antonio Barrera 13 months ago. He faced Manuel Halbo of Spain in London earlier this evening. We'll give you a look. Although it's only May, many ring observers predict Gatti Ward will challenge for Fight of the Year honors at the end of the calendar. In the past, both fighters have shown willingness to stand toe-to-toe and trade shots. But in his last fight, Arturo Gatti employed a more tactical style in a 4-round destruction of Tehran Millet. So can he build on that performance, or will Micky Ward lure him back into being the Gatti of old? We'll know more as both fighters get ready to enter the ring moments from now. And hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. We welcome you to this edition of HBO's Boxing After Dark. We on the telecast team have long looked forward to this fight, as have the writers and other expert observers at ringside, because if you're old enough, as all of us on this telecast unfortunately are, to remember the Friday night fight series sponsored by Gillette in the 50s and into the early 60s, the series which showcased fighters like Kid Gavilan, Emil Griffith, Joey Giardello, Carmen Basilio, Gene Fulmer, fighters who always gave a maximum effort and brought honor to the combat that they conducted in the ring. You're about to see a Friday night Gillette fight on Saturday night on HBO's Boxing After Dark. Those are the kinds of fighters that Arturo Gatti and Micky Ward both are, throwbacks to an era of honest fighters and great fights. Working with me as always, and another veteran of viewing the Friday night fights on Gillette all those years ago, is HBO boxing analyst Larry Merchant. Larry, what do you make of the significance of the absence of any inflated significance related to bogus titles or belts or even the real kind in this fight between Gatti and Ward?
Hopefully it is significant. Hopefully it means that in addition to the best and the brightest, we'll be bringing you more of the bravest and the boldest. To Gatti and Ward, the only title that means anything is warrior. The only belts that mean anything are the ones that they punch each other with. These are character actors who won starring roles, soldiers who won battlefield commissions. Jim, as James Ellroy has written, this is one of those fights that's balls to the wall.
James is sitting there tonight in Kansas City just waiting for this one, I'm sure, and flying in from the Poconos overnight, leaving behind his training camp duties with Lennox Lewis only for 24 hours. Our Boxing After Dark expert commentator, Emmanuel Stewart. Emmanuel, glad you could be with us. As the opening mentioned, Arturo Gatti reverted back to the boxer puncher style with which he first won a title 7 years ago in his destruction of Tehran Millet. So can he keep going with that style transformation, or will Micky Ward, with his strength and durability, lure Gatti into the kind of toe-to-toe battle that we know Arturo really loves?
Well, based on what I've been hearing from both sides, I expect Gatti to come out trying to be more of a boxer, particularly excited about his new techniques that he's learning from his new trainer, Brother McGirt. And also I'm hearing Micky Ward said he's going to box some. So I think they're both going to come out and maybe start off that way. But knowing that Micky Ward lost his last fight because he got behind early in the fight, and then he went to the scorecards with an accidental butt, so he lost his fight off of that. So he should come out earlier. I think the fact that Gatti, I think, is a better puncher and a better boxer. And the most part, Micky Ward's best punch is a left hook to the body, and pretty much that's something I think that Gatti's going to be prepared for, since it's primarily one punch. But I think with all of that considered, still, it's going to be a toss-up, because Gatti's a puncher, but I think the hometown crowd and the fact that Gatti does swell up and get cut a lot easier because of the high cheekbones means that it's going to be a toss-up fight, and the warrior mentality is going to prevail when it's over with.
Yeah, it's no accident that we're going to see in the corners tonight two of the greatest cut men in the sport. Al Gavin in the corner of Micky Ward, and Joe Souza in the corner of Arturo Gatti. These are the kind of fighters who need their cut men. Tail of the tape now for these 240-pound fighters, and as you can see, Gatti is by far the younger of the two, already on the dark side of 30, though. Micky Ward has gotten better in the last few years despite his advanced age. They're both 5'8". They both have a reach of 68 inches. They both spent about 10 seconds on the scale, and we're told that they weighed the contractually agreed upon limit of 141.5, whether they did or not. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Arturo Gatti Micky Ward fight is scheduled for 10 rounds, non-title, using the rules of the Mohegan Tribal Gaming Commission. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. The doctor or the referee can stop the fight in case the cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, and that cut causes the fight to be stopped. We go to the scorecards if the 3 rounds have been completed, and you can be saved by the bell in the 10th and final round only. Jim.
Irish Micky Ward from up the road in Lowell, Massachusetts. As you can see, he has fallen short in his efforts against championship quality fighters. That doesn't mean anybody's eager to fight him.
One reason is because he always is in supreme condition. Amazingly, Micky Ward has been a junior welterweight for all 17 years of his career. He insists that fighters who move up in weight frequently do so only because they don't want to train as hard as they did when they were young and hungry.
Our closer looks in the ring tonight, not just at what the fighters have accomplished, but at the big star of the show, how they fight.
After taking almost 3 years off, Micky Ward came back against an undefeated prospect named Alfonso Sanchez, lost 6 straight rounds, and won the fight with that one body punch. Then after losing a championship shot at Vince Phillips, he came back against a really rugged Englishman in London, had to score a knockout, and simply outwilled Shea Neary. In his last fight against Jesse James Leija, he lost a technical decision when this cut was declared wrongly, as it developed, because of a headbutt.
So Ward comes in off that disappointing outing against Jesse James Leija, a fighter who may loom down the road again as an opponent for either of the 2 fighters they'll see tonight. And here comes Arturo Gatti.
Gatti told us, Jim, that his father told him, you can't be a fighter and a rock and roll star at the same time. That's when he seemed to have toned down his act outside of the ring, trained as hard as he could, and found himself at 140 pounds at the correct weight at this stage of his career.
And within the cult audience of boxing, almost a living legend because of the drama of his fights. A closer look at Arturo Gatti.
After winning the 130-pound championship as a boxer, he was knocked down and beaten up by one Wilson Rodriguez. His eyes nearly closed, and he came back to score a melodramatic knockout that made him a star in Madison Square Garden. Then, against Gabe Ruelas, another very tough fighter, taking a beating. Finally, he comes back to reestablish himself with that left hook as an old-fashioned come-from-behind one-punch knockout fighter. Against Ivan Robinson, the fight of the year. He lost a decision. He also lost a decision in the rematch, but in the 20 rounds, we had non-stop action like this. He also lost to Angel Manfredi when his eye busted open in the first minute of the first round. He couldn't see punches coming. The fight was stopped.
They're in the ring. Let's go to Mark Biro for the official introductions.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mohegan Sun Arena near Uncasville, Connecticut, for an evening of HBO Boxing After Dark. under the promotion of main events in association with the Mohegan Sun Casino and Budweiser, the undisputed, undefeated king of beers. This Bud's for you. Tonight's bouts are under the auspices of the Mohegan Tribal Gaming Commission Athletic Unit. The unit chief is Jerry Boyle. Ring officials assigned your ringside physicians, Chief Ringside Physician Dr. Michael Schwartz, Dr. Anthony Alessi, and Dr. Joseph Carpentieri. Your timekeeper is Michael Murtha, and counting for the knockdowns at the bell, the alternate referee, Johnny Callis. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your HBO Boxing After Dark main event of the evening, 10 rounds, junior welterweights. Your judges at ringside are, from Braintree, Massachusetts, Richard Flaherty, from Brookfield, Connecticut, Frank Lombardi, and from Rivervale, New Jersey, Steve Weisfeld. Your referee for this event, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the incomparable Frank Cappuccino. Here now are your principals, introducing first, in the blue corner to my right, wearing the white trunks with the red and blue trim, weighing 141.5 pounds. His professional record, 37 victories, 11 defeats, 27 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the pride of Lowell, Massachusetts, Irish Micky Ward. His opponent in the red corner, wearing white trunks, blue trim, also weighing 141.5 pounds, with a professional record that reads 34 victories, 5 defeats. He has 28 knockouts. He boxes out of Jersey City, New Jersey. Here is Arturo Thunder Gatti. 10 rounds, junior welterweights.
Yeah. Good evening, gentlemen. You were both given your instructions in the dressing room. Now I want you to be careful on each of your corners where it might be a little wet. So just be careful when you move into the corner. Now both of you touch gloves. I leave it with you. Back in the corner. Stay back in the corner.
If Mills Lane, who recently suffered a stroke, were here, this would when he appropriately would say, let's get it on. This is for you, Mills.
And the atmosphere in the crowd was lively enough during pre-fight introductions that veteran referee Frank Cappuccino came over to timekeeper Mike Murtha and reminded him, when you hammer the bell, you hammer it hard. We've got to be sure of hearing it.
Oh, everybody's expected a good fight tonight.
Micky Ward starts off with a left hook upstairs, not the trademark punch. That one goes to the ribs, but perhaps a reminder to Gatti, I'll throw it up here too. Gatti's take on how to fight Micky Ward, who is a body puncher destroyer. Well, he says body punchers don't like it to the body. I'll hit him in the rib cage too.
And I think he's going to do that too. But
there's another big left hook.
Micky's not going to get behind on points in this fight in case he gets stopped on an accidental injury. That's for sure. He's coming out off the bat.
Normally a slower starter who sort of builds tempo as the fight goes on, but that's a good point. He probably learned a bit of a lesson in Texas about the importance of getting off early.
Yes, but he's also going to learn the importance of throwing a straight right hand too, because that looping right hand is not going to be effective tonight.
No. Let's keep it straight.
Gaddy's been all over the scale, 130, 135, up to 147, now back to 140. I think he may finally be fighting Emmanuel at his most effective weight.
Yes,
and he shows combination punching skill there.
And there's a cut on the right, on the
Micky Ward.
right eye of Micky Ward. It's on the corner. I don't know if it's dangerous, but from that left hook that Gatti landed earlier.
Gaddy's looking very good. He's shooting his punches real loose, freely. Everything is flowing beautiful, and he's moving out of the way very gracefully.
Yeah, Arturo looks good in there, as he's already opened up the cut above Ward's right eye, same eye over which Ward was cut in his loss to Vince Phillips.
And it does look like a bad cut.
Looks
Jim.
deep. Well, you know, we mentioned the two cut men, Al Gavin and Joe Souza. You don't normally hear those names in the pre-fight on camera, but it was necessary tonight.
That's right, and if he can make it back to the corner, Al Gavin is a good cut man. In fact, both of them are good cut men.
Al's as good as there is. If there's anybody who's that good, it's Joe Souza, who's across the way.
So both guys may end up bleeding if this fight continues at the way that it's going.
Well, any fight in which Arturo doesn't bleed is an upset. Look at the combinations, though, from Gatti.
Everything is flowing beautiful, very natural.
The fighters who customarily give Gatti trouble have jabs, and we haven't seen any jabs or many jabs coming from Ward.
Now that's a great point, Larry. In his losses to Ivan Robinson and Angel Manfredi, he was beaten to the jab. Ward walks in without jabbing. That's perfect for Gatti. Arturo looking over at us as if to say, I agree with the call.
Good round for Arturo Gatti.
Excellent.
Nothing, it's on the outside.
Got water, huh? Bucket?
Right here to the right. Right here.
Now this is Gavin to the right of your screen, and you can see that Al has already gone to work.
Okay.
Gotta move your head. Can you do that?
And Emmanuel, let's take a look at how this cut was opened in the first round. I believe, as Larry said, on an Arturo Gatti left hook. Well, the cut's already there.
Bad of problems as a cut may be, I think the biggest problem that Ward is having is dealing with the rhythm right now of Gatti. Gatti's got his rhythm to move it. He's doing everything very natural. Everything is flowing smoothly. And I think it's going to continue that way unless Micky steps it up.
Micky's going to have to crowd Arturo against the ropes. He won't beat Gatti in the middle of the ring. Gatti simply has better feet.
That's a good fact. And also upper body movement. Gatti's moving his upper body, not just moving. He's moving, bobbing, and weaving. Mixing up his punches very well.
Uppercut, left hook. Gatti firing from all angles. It looks so far as though the marriage of Gatti and Buddy McGirt is paying huge dividends for Arturo's basic craft.
Absolutely, he looks very good. He's doing more of a variety of things. For the most part, Mickey's very predictable right now. And the speed and the different movements is really confusing Mickey. And you can see it if you study his mind.
But we've seen Micky Ward lose every minute of every round and win the fight, as he did against Alfonso Sanchez. You can never count him out.
Let him go, let him go.
Is having problems with the power that Gatti's got because Gatti's a good puncher. He turns all of his body doing his punches, and he's what we call a free puncher. He lets all of his body turn all the way through, very loose and natural. And it's the variety of things that he's doing that's really causing a lot of problems.
You understand?
Whereas Mickey is very predictable. Plus, I think the punching power of Gatti, in addition to his boxing, is very effective.
Yeah, between rounds, when we focused on Ward's corner to watch Al Gavin work the cut, I'm told that Arturo Gatti's people Trainer Buddy McGirt in particular were telling him, you've got too much power for Micky. He's not used to facing power like yours.
At this stage, he's got a little bit of too much of everything.
Started to say, I think it's the speed more than the power.
The speed, and he's shooting uppercuts, left hooks, right hands over the shoulder, a variety of things.
By body punches. Numbers, Arturo threw 70 punches in round 1. He's going to wind up throwing more than 70 at this rate in round 2. And he's connecting at a high percentage, and Ward is just occasionally getting in a pot shot here and there.
The impressive thing about what Gatti is doing is that when he throws those combinations, he's not staying there long enough to get hit in return.
Now, Ward is doing exactly what he should do. Now, he's closing the distance now to try to neutralize some of the movements. He's closing the distance before he punches.
You keep the punches up.
And now Cappuccino warning Gatti to keep punches up. So let's make a note that there was a verbal warning at the end of round 2.
Okay, now listen. When he gets closer, keep your hands up. Now he's trying to get that body shot. So when he gets close to you, just keep him turning, okay? You're boxing beautiful. Just keep using the speed, okay? Straight right hand.
You can punch on him all day long. You just stand there. Head movement, double jab. Head movement, double jab. The overhand right, you got to keep your right hand out. All he's looking for is a hook or an uppercut on you. That's it. Deep breath. Come on, you're used to 30-second rest.
Put your head back.
Let me swallow.
Just keep moving your head.
As long as it goes, the better
Come
it's
on, babe. You heard him there. Okay.
Come on, baby.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
CompuBox numbers through the second round. Arturo Gatti averaging 29 jabs thrown per round. That makes it very difficult for Ward, who doesn't really have a jab, to start his attack.
But Ward seems to be applying more pressure and trying to get closer. And he's going to have to continue doing that. He can't sit back at a distance. He's going to have to get very close to Gatti if he's got any chance of pulling this fight off.
And he's going to have to trust that Al Gatti can keep the cut under control and keep him in the fight even as he presses forward.
Yes, he does. Gavin seems to have did a good job. Usually, a good cut man takes 2 rounds before the blood really coagulates.
Hard left hook by Arturo Gatti. Gatti landing a lot of punches cleanly and sharply. Ward trying to feint his way inside. Looks as though Gatti is so conscious of Ward's left hook that there might be an opening here for Ward to land the right hand, but he's not really quick with the right the way he is with the left.
See, Ward is primarily dealing with one punch for the most part. Most of the punches are going to restrict his left hand, and most good fighters can neutralize that. He's going to have to stay just as he's doing now. He's going to have to continue to do that to stay close.
Gatti turning away from Ward at the ropes and back to the center of the ring.
Well, he's not going to be able to deal with Gatti's speed anyway, so he's just going to stay closer, and that's the only chance he's got.
Stop!
Earlier in the round, Ward landed his first good hook to the body. He has to do more of that if he's going to be there in the second half of the fight.
He just landed his second good left hook to the body.
You got to remember also that Gatti himself cuts up and swells up pretty bad himself.
Well, and if anything will take Gatti's foot movement away, it would be that left hook to the body, if Ward could get it in there.
And he's getting closer and closer now.
What Gatti's people have been most concerned about is just this kind of stuff that will keep Ward in the fight long enough to bust up Gatti.
Yep, and here comes the Lowell, Massachusetts contingent rising to the occasion for their fighter.
Yeah.
And here's Gatti with some of that. I'll give it to him in the body medicine.
Now the fight is turning out to be what we expected. So much for the boxing.
They're standing up in round 3.
Maybe those body punches slowed Gatti down a little bit.
And now he's trying to slow Ward down with body punches too.
Good sharp left hook upstairs by Gatti. Uppercuts for Arturo. Fast hands. Ward's cut opening again.
Ward has got to keep it in tight like that.
That's what they came here for.
You got his respect. Listen to me. When you get inside, don't take that body shot, Arturo. Don't listen to me. You finish beautiful. You don't have to take that shot. Don't take it. As soon as you get inside, go to your left. That's all he's trying to look at me. Look at me. I'm over here. I'm over here. Stay focused, Arturo. Listen to me. Listen to me. You're boxing beautiful. Don't take that shot.
More boxing comes your way next month. June 1 on HBO. First, you'll see a preview show counting down to the Lennox Lewis-Mike Tyson fight. Then a live heavyweight fight between Evander Holyfield and Hasim Rahman. June 8 on pay-per-view. The Lennox Lewis-Mike Tyson fight, for which so many have waited for so long. It says here on the card, it should be a memorable night. I read that with a straight face. June 22 on HBO pay-per-view, the rematch of 2000's Fight of the Year, Eric Morales against Marco Antonio Barrera, live from Las Vegas. Great fight. Round 4 begins. In round 3, the two fighters, by CompuBox estimate, landed a combined 53 power shots. 30 for Gatti, 23 for Ward. Harold, how do you have it so far?
Okay, Jim, 3-0, 30-27, Arturo Gatti. Jim, I got to tell you, Arturo Gatti showing us not only beautiful combinations, but really, really nice ring generalship. It's a big ring, probably something like 22 feet. He's moving beautifully, keeping Micky Ward off balance. When he did stand still in the last minute of round 3, he ripped those shots to the body. Always combinations. I think Arturo Gatti's won all 3 rounds, although the third one was close.
Given that Ward is the New England fighter, Manny, you have to be surprised at the size of the ring.
Yes, I thought it would be a smaller ring to favor him, but right now the ring is a big ring, which really would favor Gatti, since he's coming to this fight predicted that he would be the boxer.
Gatti's left eye beginning to swell. No blood yet. Gatti's left eye swells in virtually every fight.
That's because of those high cheekbones that he has. Good right hand. Good right hand. Good right hand.
And Gatti
good right hand. And he hurt him with that right hand too.
Gatti trying to clear his head, comes back with his own punches.
Now the Warrior is going to come out of both of those guys. I don't think the boxing is going to be too much from this point on. I think Gatti's going to have to fight Micky, because Micky's putting too much pressure on him now. And he's going to resort back to what he's been doing most of his career, and that's to punch.
Gatti to the body. Gatti with uppercut. Right hand. Oh, this is good stuff.
Looks like there's blood coming now from Ward's mouth.
We saw Ward in those type of fights. Remember the fight with Emmanuel Burton, so this is just one of his normal fights.
Fight of the year for 2001, Ward Burton broke a lot of CompuBox records. Oh, that's another right-hand bomb by Micky Ward. Gatti takes this one a little better, but he's been rocked in this round. Oh, big left hook by Ward, big left hook by Gatti.
In that fight against Emmanuel Burton, the 35-year-old Ward averaged 118 punches around.
And what's surprising me now, he's coming back with a beautiful short right hand. That's what his most effective punch tonight has been, the right hand now, more so than the body punch.
Oh, what a body shot. Oh, magnificent left to the body. Was it low? Was it low?
I thought it was a little bit low.
And Frank Cappuccino thought so too, and he's going to rule no knockdown, and he's taking a point away from Gatti.
You got 5 minutes to recoup.
Key ruling by Frank Cappuccino. Didn't hesitate at all. He was sure of what he'd seen.
Now, you got 5 minutes. To the end of the round.
They've sounded a bell to end the round.
Keep doing it. You know what's happening. Okay. Daniel, go ahead.
Harold, why did the round end?
Okay, Jim, let me tell you something. It's miscommunication between the referee and the timekeeper. When Frank Cappuccino saw that low blow, there's no question he should have yelled timeout. At which point, Micky Ward would have up to 5 minutes to recover. If he can't, continue after 5 minutes, he loses. But the timekeeper never stopped the clock, and that's all there was to it. He let it run. He let the round run out.
Does he have 5 minutes now?
Ward still have 5,
No, absolutely not. 1 minute rest period.
Let's take a look and see if the blow was low. Yes, it was.
Yep.
That's how we saw it.
go. Nick, get him low.
You heard Micky Ward. He's all set. He wants to go. Why is that not a surprise?
In round 4, both guys threw more than 30 power shots and landed more than half. So it is becoming the slugfest everyone anticipated, despite Arturo Gatti's skillful efforts to make it a boxing match in the early rounds. Oh, look at the granite in Ward's chin as he takes 3 flush power shots.
But he doesn't return fire until Gatti is finished, which invites Gatti to keep going.
Emmanuel, how discouraging is it to Arturo to have landed the kind of bombs he's landed?
It's got it, because he's turning full force on those shots. And actually hasn't really hurt Ward. He hits him with the punches, full force, and Ward may wiggle a lot from the impact of it and lose his balance, but he's never shown that he's been seriously hurt yet. And the only one to me that's been hurt has been Gatti. But he got hit with that short right hand.
Absolutely.
Another short right hand by Ward again.
We're about halfway through the round right now. We've lost our round clock. About a minute and a half to go in the round now. Blood begins to flow from above Ward's right eye again. But look at the distance between the two fighters. This is becoming Micky Ward's fight. They're fighting in a phone booth, and that's the way he wants it.
You know, this is reminiscent of a fight many years back, since we're speaking of the 50s, between a guy named Carmen Basilio and Tony DeMarco.
Basilio, one of the fighters I mentioned at the beginning of the night.
Yes. You know, you could take those white trunks off and put one pair of white and one pair of black on, and we'd go all the way back to the 50s.
It is man against man in there.
Oh, my God.
This bout is scheduled for 10.
Well, I'll tell you what, the fans are going to get 12 rounds of action out of 10 rounds tonight.
Now they're going to get 15 rounds
more.
back.
Oh, look at that. Look at that combination.
And Arturo, Gatti's right eye is bleeding.
Yeah.
The blood begins to flow.
And he's loaded up every punch.
A tremendous rally by Micky Ward. And the timekeeper can't seem to get it straight when to ring the bell. Crowd's going
I see what Frank Cappuccino was saying now.
Yep.
Just aim your punches. You got this.
I got the towel, man. Don't worry. Keep that. How you feel?
Give me your head. Let me work for you.
Swallow, man.
Touch him, and turn out. You stand inside, take unnecessary body punishment. Don't take it. Rinses, Mikey. Come on, baby. We got to suck it up like a champ now.
We talked earlier of the tremendous...
Everything that he's shooting is landing pretty good, turning all of his body weight through on every punch. And at this stage, if you don't look closer, you think that Ward is about to give. Now here Ward's coming back. And I didn't think that Gatti was expecting to throw that many punches, especially the short punches that he's shooting.
Larry, we're halfway through.
We talked about the amazing condition and endurance and will of Ward, and we saw it in that round, how he came back at Gatti. As Emmanuel, as you mentioned, Gatti hasn't had to throw that many punches for a long time.
No, and he's landed some beautiful shots. But, you know, as I said earlier, now Gatti is starting to swell up and bleed also. But at this stage, I would still have Gatti with him, but it looks very promising for Micky. Because Micky has not been hurt yet. He's been hit with some great shots, but he's never staggered or wavered at all.
Gentlemen, in the 5th round, they landed 98 punches. My CompuBox estimate, 88 of them power shots. Almost evenly distributed.
All right, keep that control there.
A hellacious round. So the pace slows slightly here in round 6.
Gatti's fighting his sticks is going to come out now, and it's going to be nothing but a slugfest, I think, for the most part. And I think Ward is going to put enough pressure on him where he can't really box him. He's going to have to fight.
If Micky Ward wants to come to you, he will walk through a hailstorm of punishment to do it.
And you better watch that short right hand that he's trying to get close to shoot over the shoulder. Now, that seemed to be his key punch.
He's turning it over.
Again, yes.
He's turning it over like never before.
And that's just as dangerous as a left hook to the body is at this point in the fight.
Oh, what a haymaker by Gatti. And Ward just comes right back.
Business as usual.
Big left hook by Gatti. Ward says, I'll walk with you over here. Relentless.
That's the right hand again. And he's shooting straight across the shoulder as if he's anticipating the movement of Gatti. Instead of shooting at Gatti's head a lot, Ward is shooting it straight at his shoulders, and he's catching him because most of the time Gatti tries to avoid the right by going down instead of pulling away.
But Gatti is fighting a good round here.
He's winning this round big.
He's gone back to some movement, throwing combinations, trying to move away, standing and fighting, moving again, trying to move his upper body. This is a very good Gatti we're looking at here.
Yep, in the war of wills, Gatti has taken it to another step. And now Ward is going to have to reimpose himself as he did in rounds 4 and 5.
Gatti's went back to boxing. I didn't think he would, but he's went back to boxing. He's working very effective, too.
Yep. And Joe Souza did such great work that I see no blood on Gatti's right eye.
Ward pounds his heart as if to say, I can take anything you can give. And he can.
That's it, baby. That's the key. Listen to me. He's in the same fight you're in, okay? He's feeling the same tired as you, if not tired. Nice and smart. Okay, now when he gets close to you, listen to me. If you don't feel like punching, move your upper body. He's not going to do anything. Okay, then go back to the jab. You seen you on the ropes, you touch, touch, touch. Keep doing that till you get that second win. Take a deep breath. Now we boxing like Arturo Gatti. Okay. Listen to me. Look at me, baby. You got this fight. You can rest all day tomorrow, you understand? Yeah. This is for all the marbles, baby. You understand me? Box.
Give him business. You know what I would do? Nick, you got to back him up. He's hitting you here. He's hitting you here, Nick. Do it back, please.
Come on, go.
People in boxing have been looking forward to this fight for a couple of years. They're getting what they were looking forward to.
And 6 rounds in the books, 4 more to go. Harold, how do you have it?
Okay, Jim, 4 rounds to 2, 57-56, Arturo Gatti. Jim, Micky Ward gets an extra point in the 4th round because Frank Cappuccino took away a point for a low blow. It may be crucial at the end of this fight. Round 5, I thought Micky Ward pulled out because sometimes what you do in the last 30 seconds is just an accumulation of what you've done in the first 2.5 minutes. And it was a great rally by Ward at the end of round 5. Round 6, Arturo Gatti comes back strong. 4-2 Gatti, but Gatti by only 1 point.
I have Gatti ahead 4-1 and 1 even because of that point taken away.
And for the moment, Gatti has succeeded in tempting Ward back into a boxing match.
Yes, he has. Gatti's doing a beautiful job. He's went back to his boxing, his corner, his instructor. He's mixing up his attack. Once again, Micky seems to be confused.
And you heard the impassioned speech between rounds by Buddy McGirt, who's been there against some terrific fighters and is turning out to be a very good trainer. Ward pops that Gatti again with that right hand.
I wonder what kind of brains ahead to both of these guys have. I mean, they're getting him with punches right on the chin, and it seems like it just stimulates him. It's another right hand again, and he comes right back.
Big counter left hook by Gatti there, as Ward was a little long with the straight right hand. Left it out there, Arturo popped it.
All right, good. That's what I want to see.
I think Gatti's doing beautiful with his new style of boxing. He's mixing up his work, boxing beautiful, but still he's the big puncher. He still sits down every once in a while and makes you respect him.
He can still fight.
Yeah, and I love his punching power.
Through 6 rounds, Gatti landed more than 200 punches, most of them on the face of Micky Ward. And here comes Ward.
Let him go, let him go, let him out.
You can't stop him. Before a big fight, most fighters like to try something new in training. Ward's innovation this time around was to rest only 30 seconds between rounds of sparring.
Yeah, but I don't think nothing can prepare him for this type of a fight here. Not only with a guy who's a busy fighter, but also a great puncher. At this stage, Micky's been outdone in terms of talent, skills, but not in terms of heart. He's always trying, but
All right, let him go,
just
let him
one
out.
step
Get out
behind.
yourselves. Come on, come on.
Ward has turned southpaw here at the end of the round.
To no great effect.
Hey, listen. We got 10 minutes, baby. Can we get 10 minutes? Yes. Okay, listen to me, baby. When he gets close to you, Arturo, if you're not gonna punch, have your hands up. Just move. He don't want to fight no more. Okay, he's looking for the one shot. And go back to the...
You got left.
I'm all right.
All right.
Yeah.
Put it on him now.
Okay. You gotta use everything with your left, then, Mick. Everything with your left. Yeah. Bang the shit out of him. Mick, don't be a puncher bag. If you're gonna be a puncher bag, I'm not gonna let this go like this. Fight hard.
Okay.
Keep back.
Yep. Got a punch. Got to punch. Come on, Mick. He's yours. Come on.
Dick Eklund, Ward's brother and trainer, said he's not going to let him be a punching bag. Don't take so many punches. Can he start to avoid them?
No.
Is he Micky Ward if he does avoid them?
I don't think he can avoid it. I think all he can do is just try to fight his way through the trouble, because he's not going to ever avoid all of those punches.
Let him go.
Gatti is extremely sharp tonight.
Gatti threw 31 jabs in the 7th round. If he keeps throwing 30 jabs around, it's going to be awfully difficult for Ward to reel him in. It's going to set up the chance for Arturo to outbox Ward down the stretch, as he's done through most of the first 7.
You know, it's hard for me looking at the wars that I saw Gatti in, and he's fought all of the, great wars and all of the top fighters. To see him moving like this, like a young fighter, just totally amazing to me.
And those wars you saw in the ring, he had some equally vicious wars with the champagne bottle and the nightlife on the circuit in New Jersey.
You know, but he's gone through changes before. As an amateur, he was a boxer. Early in his pro career, he was a brawler. Then he changed to a boxer to win the 130-pound title from Tracy Patterson. Then he became a brawler again, and here he is back to boxing.
Just the fact that he's here is amazing.
Well, you give his management team great credit for taking him off for a couple of years to help restore him and give him easy fights and not use him up, because most of us didn't expect to see him still in the ring at the age of 30.
He's got a manager named Pat Lynch who's been as loyal and steadfast as any manager in boxing can be with Arturo Gatti. He's kept his career alive.
Yes, but even with all of that, there's something unusually physically in this man, for this man to take all of this. He's just one of those gifted guys like Yvonne Durrell. You just run across guys like that sometimes.
Another Canadian.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Absolutely. I thought that's why you were using Durrell as the standard there. I thought it was a given.
And you know, all of the punches Durrell took, when you meet him, he speaks like a British scholar. So very, very smart, intelligent man.
You don't fight with your head, Arthur.
There's that right hand again. The right again as Ward chops away at Gatti. Arturo hitting a little flat spot here. Micky Ward starts to come on. Crowd gets back into it. Gatti throwing a few change-ups, and then the high hard one. Again, left-right combination landed flush. Ward bleeding heavily.
And Gatti was hurt by a left and a right.
That is hurt. Yes. And this.
Oh my gosh! Oh my goodness!
You gotta shake it up.
What a fight!
We gotta wait for that.
Relax.
It looks like Micky Ward is going to try to pull off another Emmanuel Burton.
Come here.
He's still
Got him going now. Look, I swear. In case you got him going.
Listen, baby. You're taking too many shots inside, Arturo. Throw the right hand to the body, Arturo. Okay?
Come on, baby.
Come on, Arturo. Listen to me. We got 6 minutes. Arturo, you got 6 minutes. Give me the 6 minutes for Jerry.
That's it. It started with that short right hand again. You know, this fight is just turning back and forth so much, and I think the body shot in there had a lot of effect on him, and I don't know if Arturo is going to fully recuperate from that volley.
We know that Micky Ward can keep fighting through this kind of action.
Ward landed 42 out of 71 punches.
We're not sure about Gatti because he hasn't been in this kind of a war with as strong a fighter as Ward before.
That body shot again. That's the body shot.
It's the left hook to the body. Ward's money punch, and this knockdown counts.
And he is hurt.
This is it. He's not going to recover. It's not like a head punch.
He may not be able to
I don't
recover.
think so. And Ward is going to go right back down there again. Right to the body again. He's still hurting from the body punch also still, in addition to the head.
Arturo Gatti refusing to go down as Micky Ward pounds away.
In the past, this is where Arturo Gatti has been dangerous.
But Ward should go back to the body again.
Gatti risking another low blow penalty to try to get Ward off of him, and lands another big shot.
Burton, did Ward punch himself out for the time being with that tremendous barrage in the first minute? Just look at this.
Unbelievable.
Can you believe there's still a minute and a half to go in the round? Gatti blinking away the blood in his right eye. Can't see out of the right eye. Vicious body shots by Gatti. Ward nods as if to say, come on, come on. Come on, let's fight.
Trying to get a break. Ward should go right back to the body. That's where he needs to go to the body. You know, you dream of fights like this, but very seldom do they live up to the expectation. This is even more than you could dream of.
Just imagine if you bought a ticket. Stop it, Frank. You can stop it any time. Arturo Gatti's out on his feet. Frank Cappuccino's going to let him keep going.
Gatti doesn't even have the strength to tie Ward up.
And Ward is tied. And here comes Gatti back.
Less than 10 seconds in the round. Gatti's going to survive the round.
This should be the round of the century.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm not gonna let you take this punishment. Okay? Now look at me. Look at me, Arturo. Tell me something.
This guy's done. Give me up front.
I know it's the toughest fight, man. You got it in there. You're okay.
Hold on, let go.
Micky Ward said
right
he
here,
would
you see, Gatti got hurt with the body shot, and that did more damage. Now he's coming back.
Micky Ward said he would retire if he loses this fight. From the way Gatti went back to the corner.
In most conditions, this fight would have been stopped right here.
He may have more fighting left in him.
Gentlemen, in round 9, by CompuBox numbers, this fight's going to be stopped. Nope, it's not.
Whoa. Fight ain't over. Fight ain't over now. Last round. You're back in the corner. Go way back. All the way back.
I thought Buddy McGirt was going to stop it. After having said to his fighter he wouldn't let him take any more punishment. Now we're going to go. Round 10. In round 9, they landed 110 punches between them. And they were all power shots. Harold, what's your scorecard?
Okay, Jim, 85-84. Micky won. I think that he pulled ahead with that shot that knocked Arturo Gatti down. He certainly won the 8th round, so I got Micky Ward up by a point. Interestingly enough, this round is 30 seconds short because that timekeeper never stopped the damn clock at the beginning of the round.
That's right. This round's only going to be about 2.5 minutes.
Which is good news for Gatti.
He's come out and asserted himself again at the beginning of the round. But does Gatti have a full 2 minutes left in the tank? I'm pretty sure Ward does.
Hold it. Come on, lined up like pros, huh?
Ward looks hurt now, but he keeps coming.
Ward has got it, but he's going to have to let it go because the clock is ticking. And at this point, Gatti's winning the round, and this may be the crucial round of the fight.
I think Gatti's having trouble seeing out of both eyes now, Emmanuel.
Yes.
But he doesn't have trouble firing away. Hard body shot by Gatti. Knocks Ward back.
Ward is exhausted. Gatti sees that and seems to have taken some
Yes, and he's taking
fresh air from it.
And he's winning his fight now.
I am humbled by watching these two guys take the punishment they are taking.
Well, we told you it might be a candidate for Fight of the Year. We didn't know it would be a candidate for Fight of the Century.
This is the way it has to end.
Arturo Gatti, Irish Micky Ward, two of the most honest fighters in the sport of boxing, circa 2002. A fight straight out of the 1950s, a throwback to the golden era of the ring.
Was boxing war tonight.
Well, if ever a fighter showed the courage to go out and try to claim the final round with the fight on the table, it was Arturo Gatti there. An exhausted Gatti throwing 50 punches in the 10th round, while Ward could only throw 48. Excuse me, Gatti landing 50 punches, throwing 99. An incredible performance by an exhausted fighter in the crucible of a toe-to-toe battle.
Before Harold gives a score, I had Gatti winning by a couple of points.
All right, let's take a look at some highlights from throughout the fight. And virtually every minute of the fight produced amazing highlights. Emmanuel, put the headset back on here. We're going to get a look at what went on throughout this pitched battle as Arturo Gatti came out in the first couple of rounds and tried to assert himself as a boxer. Micky Ward cut above the eye in the first round. And through the early rounds, Gatti's hand speed and maneuverability were the difference in the fight. But Micky Ward, typically for the Lowell, Massachusetts battler kept on coming, got closer to Arturo, and in the middle rounds of the fight began to assert himself through a straight right hand upstairs and his trademark vicious left hook to the body, until finally Gatti went down from accumulated punishment in the 9th round. And then Arturo got up and assaulted Ward again and came back to win the latter half of the 9th and then clearly won the 10th round. And now we wait with suspense for the decision. You care to pick a winner, Emmanuel?
Oh, my God. You know, offhand, I'd have to go with Arturo Gatti, my guess, simply because he was busier and more consistent.
Fighters were on the canvas twice in the fight. In round 4, it was Ward who went to the canvas on what was immediately ruled by referee Frank Cappuccino a low blow by Gatti. And then in round 9, it was Gatti who went to the canvas from an accumulation of punishment. The most important punch being that trademark left hook to the body by Ward, and this was clearly a knockdown.
And I feel that if Ward had went back to that same body shot, he would have won by knockout.
Here's Mark Barrow with the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a majority decision. Judge Frank Lombardi scores the bout 94-94, a draw. Judge Richard Flaherty scores it 94-93. Judge Steve Weisfeld sees it 95-93. All to the winner by majority decision, Irish Micky Ward.
Final CompuBox numbers after this near incredible display. Gatti landing 82 more punches than Ward, throwing 229 more punches than Ward. Ward landing at the higher connect percentage. Arturo, for all his skill, still doesn't choose to defend himself all that much. Total power punches. Ward landing 55%, Gatti landing 60%. The fight living up to all of its expectations. All in all, these are astonishing numbers reflecting the enormous punishment dished out to both fighters. Victory carved out by Ward on the basis of the point deduction against Gatti for the low blow and the point bonus for Ward because of the knockdown. That produced the difference in the fight. Let's go to Larry Merchant standing by in the ring.
Thank you, Jim. And thank you guys for giving us a memorable night at the fights. Your impression of the fight, was this as tough as anything you've been through, Micky?
Most definitely. Arturo's a gentleman. He's a great fighter. He didn't have to prove nothing to no one tonight. He's proved over the years what he can do. You know, he's a great man. He's a great warrior. I have nothing but total respect for him. This fight was a very close fight. This fight could have went either way in my mind. I take nothing from Arturo. He's a great man, buddy. He's a great guy. His manager, Pat Lynch. It's a great team. They're great people.
Arturo, your impression, have you ever been in anything like that?
Not really. He's a very tough guy. You know, I hit him with some good shots. He kept getting stronger every round, and I got to give it to him. You know, it's a tough fight, close fight. It could have gone either way. I just thought that I shouldn't have got a point taken off for a low blow because, you know, it was not intentional, but that's all right, you know.
Was his durability, his ability to take your punches, the difference in the fight?
Well, yeah, you know, he's a tough guy, and he's got a good defense. You know, for a guy that don't move a lot, he's got a pretty good defense. You know, sometimes, you know, you don't need to move your head that much not to get hit.
At the end of the 9th round, At the end of the 9th round, was your trainer trying to stop the fight, Buddy McGirt?
Not at all. You know, he told me if I want to keep going. He said it's a close fight. You can win this fight. This is the last round. You take this round, you have the fight. And, you know, I want to keep going. You know, he hurt me to the body. He's a strong guy, you know.
Were you almost out in that 9th round?
Actually, I was trying to take my breath back, and he kept punching me. But no, I'm all right. You know, I see him gone, but I'm not.
Did you think he was finished in that 9th round?
Oh yeah, to be honest with you, I did. But you can't take nothing. You can't take nothing for granted with Toro. He's like rock. He's like granite.
All right, we're gonna take a look at the 9th round, guys, and I'd like you both to describe what you see as we show that entire 9th round. A round none of us who have seen are likely to forget. Did he surprise you the way he boxed and was able to continue?
Yeah, Toro's a very good boxer beside a brawler. That's what I was worried about.
All right, that body punch really did some damage.
Well, you know, he was hitting me to the body throughout the fight, and that last one just caught the right spot. You know, a body shot is not something you can recuperate.
Right.
All right, when you saw how hurt he was with that body shot, did you think he would even survive the round?
I didn't, but like I said, this guy is like granite, man. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I've never hit no one shots like that. My hand's killing me, my elbow. I don't know. What the hell has he got in his head? I don't know. Tell me, man.
All right, did you punch yourself out a little here?
Jesus, almost. When he come back, I said, damn. I just had to keep doing 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 straight punches, you know.
When he was throwing so many punches, Arturo, did it enter your mind this guy could punch himself out here?
Well, I thought so. That, you know, I said, you know what, he's going to punch himself out. The 10 rounds will be my round. And the 10th round, I won that round. You know, I thought I did enough to win the fight. But, you know, Micky Ward doesn't stop. He's in great shape. God bless him. 36 years old. He's got a lot to go.
Thank you. You know, he's trained his life around. I'm more proud of Toro for that than any boxing he could ever do. He's a great man. That's a man to do that. Boxing is just a piece of our life. The real life's outside the ring, and he's proven he's better than it.
All right, let's keep watching this as this fight enters in its last minute, and he keeps coming at you. Were you exhausted by that time, Micky?
I don't know what I was. I was just dead. Yeah, I was tired. I mean, I thought I had him, and he kept coming. You know, he's a warrior. What can you? Nothing else I can say. He showed his toughness, you know.
So did you get a second wind here?
Well, in the last round, you know, I knew I needed
this. Is the 9th round.
Oh, the 9th. Is it? Oh, wow, that's a long round.
If it's a long round to watch.
But, yeah, and I got the second win. I knew I was hurt. I had to come back strong. I did come back strong, and I was trying to keep my energy for the 10th round. And that's what I did, to come back stronger in the 10th.
When you went back to the corner, were you afraid they were going to stop the fight?
No. If they didn't stop in the 9th, they won't stop it in the 10th, because everybody knows who I am. I'm the comeback boy.
You were bloody from early in the fight. Did that blood bother you, Micky?
It bothered me early on, but kind of Gavin did a great job, so I felt better as the fight went on. That's it, guy, man. This is unbelievable.
You've been in a lot of rounds like this. Anyone quite as intense?
No, not really. I'll put right up there at the top, you know. Right up there at the top, not the D-top. I don't know. He's a warrior. That's what you can say. He's a tough guy.
All right, Micky. Thank you guys very much. One question. Do you guys want to do this again?
I would love to. I would love to get a rematch if it's possible. And I think we should do it again.
We can do it. We'll do it.
You get most of the money is what you're trying to say.
Hey, we can talk, you know.
We even money.
It's a great fight and two great warriors, you know. It's honesty, and he's an honest guy.
It's a great fight together. I think we should do it again.
Thank you guys very much for a great night. Back to you, Jim.
All right, a little bit of trivia. 10th round of Holyfield Bowe won. 9th round of Barrera Morales won, and now that 9th round. I think those are the 3 greatest rounds I've ever seen in boxing.
Well, that 9th round was about 3 9th rounds all in one. I don't know if my heart can stand another one of those.
Let me ask you this. Can either fighter ever be the same after a fight like this?
You know, we've said that so many times about both of those guys, and they keep coming back, but I don't know if anybody can take that type of a punishment and come back and be the same. But at least they'll be going back against each other, so they won't be going against someone fresh.
Oh, it's been a busy 8 days in the 140-pound division. Last Saturday night on the undercard of Felix Trinidad's comeback against Hassan Sharifi in Puerto Rico. We saw a pitched battle between two fighters from Miami, former Cuban defector Diabeles Hurtado against hard puncher Randall Bailey. Bailey came in with 25 knockouts in 26 fights and put Hurtado down after going down himself in the first round. But then in the 7th round, with the fight seemingly turning against him, Diabeles Hurtado released an unexpected barrage of body punches and eventually scored a TKO over Bailey to stamp himself as a future contender. And then tonight, the acknowledged champion in the division, Costa Tszyu, beat Ben Taki in Las Vegas, unanimous decision. So Tszyu holds on to the 140-pound title and looks forward to bigger fights down the road, maybe against Irish Micky Ward or Arturo Gatti, although, of course, what everybody's going to want to see, Larry, is these two guys going against each other again.
If they can stand it, we can.
Oh, my God.
You know, prize fighters sign on for a life of pain and struggle, risk and reward. And those fighters who honor that contract are the ones who move us and thrill us the way Arturo Gatti and Micky Ward did tonight.
Yeah, I'd say once in a lifetime, except luckily for us, it happens just a little bit more often than that. You don't see this much of the time, though. For instance, earlier this evening, Prince Naseem Hamed made his first return to the ring in 13 months after having been taken apart by Marco Antonio Barrera in Las Vegas last May. A nice long layoff for Hamed before he came back against carefully hand-picked opponent Manuel Calvo of Spain. Now, you remember what happened last May when, after the typical elaborate entrance, Hamed was embarrassed through the course of a 12-round fight by Barrera, who showed greater skills, greater will, and a full understanding as to exactly how to blunt the Prince's power game. Barrera was so confident of victory by the last round that he even decided to take an intentional one-point penalty to further humiliate Hamed by running his head into the ring post to punctuate his victory. Boom! One of the biggest moments in boxing in the year 2001. So that was what Hamed needed to put behind him psychologically as he came back into the ring tonight against a carefully chosen, non-dangerous Spanish opponent before a supportive home crowd in England. And of course there was yet another elaborate entrance, as the Prince made sure to indicate that nothing will change about the showbiz element of his game. Although he did not jump over the top rope into the ring, but rather stepped between them the old-style way to face Calvo. What happened from that point forward wasn't in the script, as the Prince had to go the distance to grind out a decision against the hand-picked opponent.
They unearthed every cemetery in Europe looking for an opponent they could beat, but they found somebody who was a little bit more alive than they expected. And the Prince looked like somebody who took 13 months to get back on the horse, took that knockdown, but it was not called a knockdown, and he didn't look like he was really happy to be back on the horse.
Emmanuel, you used to train him, you don't anymore. What do you think of what you see of the Prince here?
Well, it was not an impressive performance, but, you know, I hope that he gets himself back together, because he still is a very colorful fighter and a good puncher, and he's good for the business.
Down the stretch, the crowd looked for the signature Hamed knockout. Sometimes it has come in the late rounds, but it was not to be the case tonight in London. And as some segments of the crowd booed, Hamed ground his way forward toward what became a unanimous decision victory over Calvo. As I mentioned, not in the script. Certainly the Prince would have wanted to come back with one of the thunderous knockouts on which he built his reputation as a uniquely hard-punching featherweight. But he's back, and we'll look forward to seeing him in future engagements. What does tonight's victory mean to the Prince's future business?
Well, he suffered one of the most popular defeats in boxing history when he lost to Barrera. And off of the snippets that we saw of his fight tonight, I'd say that he has a way to go to prove to us that still that he's more of a prize fighter than a showman.
All right, let's talk about another Englishman, because within less than 12 hours from now, our Emmanuel Stewart will be back in the Poconos in Pennsylvania to further train Lennox Lewis for his defense of the heavyweight championship on June 8 against a fellow named Tyson in Memphis. How does Lennox look?
I would say Lennox not only is in good shape, he's looking pretty ornery and mean. He's at the same mode that he was in for the rematch with Hasim Rockman. he wants to knock Mike Tyson out. He feels that Mike Tyson is overrated. He's been gone a long time ago. The people are still trying to hold on to Mike Tyson of the late 80s. They don't want to realize that it's gone. And Lennox said he's going to shut him up and knock him out. And according to Lennox, eliminate boxing of his last misfit. Those are Lennox's final words, and he's very strong about that.
Some people think that Mike's quotes from the past couple of weeks are simply the manic ravings of a lunatic too far gone. I personally believe that, among other things, he's trying to get under Lennox's skin and make him think about other things besides his business in the ring. Is Lennox distracted at all by Mike's act?
And Lennox, as you have read, probably said that when Mike was in prison and he was saying he was probably reading comic books. Lennox has no fear of Mike, and Mike has admitted that himself. This is the only fighter that he's fought that he says not only he knows that Lennox Lewis doesn't fear him, but Lennox Lewis intimidates and picks with him every time they get together publicly. So that puts Mike's in a different role than he's used to being in. And I think it's going to have a profound effect on the fight. Lennox is totally confident that he's a big, good man that's been fighting good quality fighters, while Mike Tyson, for the most part, hasn't even been fighting too much the last 5 years, let alone the caliber guys that he's been fighting.
Manny, does that mean you're predicting an early round knockout?
Lennox is going to knock him out early.
All right. We'll look forward to seeing you then on June 8th when you come back. And
as a winner.
As a winner. All right. You'll be there as a trainer. The fighter will be the winner. And thanks very much for being with us. We'll have a final word on what took place here on the ring on Boxing After Dark in a moment. Right now, let's look ahead to some upcoming programs.
HBO presents a new dramatic series, The Wire.
There's a chain of command to consider. You gotta serve somebody.
And it's always gonna be that way. Except you do that for 20, 30 years. What do you have?
Thing is, you gotta be patient. Learn the job, love the job.
If I'm in these projects a year from now, might as well be dead.
The Wire, Sunday, June 2nd. Tap in.
Across the span of time, there have been rulers, warriors who have conquered all they've seen. Now, Evander Holyfield, the legendary four-time world champion, seeks the crown again. But before he can reign supreme, he must overcome a formidable foe, The Rock, Hasim Rahman. Two former heavyweight kings out to reclaim their throne. Holyfield versus Rahman, live Saturday, June 1st on HBO, the heart and soul of boxing.
Also that night, we bring you a preview show counting down to the Lennox Lewis-Mike Tyson pay-per-view showdown on June 8th. We'll go inside the ropes of the most highly anticipated heavyweight championship fight in years, you know, with interviews, features, and a roundtable discussion. And then a week later, Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson finally enter the ring to settle supremacy in the heavyweight division, the event the entire sporting world has been talking about, which may go down as the biggest money heavyweight championship fight in history, June 8th, live on pay-per-view. Earlier this evening, we hope that you were fortunate enough to be among the audience who watched this Micky Ward Arturo Gatti war on Boxing After Dark. A majority decision for Ward, forged on the margin of the penalty point against Gatti for low blows and the knockdown point that Ward scored in the ninth. One judge, in fact, gave Ward a 10-7 round in the ninth, and that really was the margin of victory. But it was close, but it was great. Next on HBO, stay tuned for 6 Feet Under, which amazingly neither fighter is. And so now, for our entire HBO crew, I'm Jim Lampley saying so long from the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut. The executive producer of HBO Sports is Rick Bernstein. Tonight's edition of Boxing After Dark, produced by Thomas Odelfelt. He's getting married next week. Congratulations, Thomas. Directed by Mark Payton. Associate Directors Brian Lockhart and Cameron Penn. Assistant to the producer Abteen Spike Motia. Production Manager Mark Hayden. Technical Supervisor Bob Hunter. And the Technical Director, Joe Abanda.
This has been a presentation of HBO Sports, the network of champions.